Presentation on topic: the use of neural networks for modeling the thermophysical characteristic of epoxy composites treated with electric spark water hammer is presented to your attention. Polymer composite materials are used in various industries: mechanical engineering, construction, and aviation. Composite materials are increasingly used in critical elements of aircraft. The modern technology operating polymer composites, including epoxy composites, is aimed at studying methods of controlled dielectric changes in the material structure parameters. The latter, in most cases, determine the physical, mechanical, and operational characteristics of epoxy composites. Methods of experimental studies are often complicated and expensive. In particular, with a large amount of experimental data, they need to be generalized, that is, to find the dependence that most accurately approximates them. Therefore, in the presence of experimental data, it is advisable to use machine learning methods that solve such problems with great accuracy. Machine learning methods which, instead of being programmed, are capable to analyzing data and learning from them. The aim of this investigation is to study the materials at different temperatures of plasticized epoxy composites filled with DEC1 aluminum oxide, chromium oxide, and carbon black using neural networks. The parameters of the thermal coefficient of linear expansion of polymers should be predicted by algorithm of supervised learning, that is, neural networks. Networks are the family of models built using the principle of organization and functioning of biological neural networks of nerve cells of living organisms. Neural network is one of the machine learning algorithms where the computer learns to solve different problems by analyzing examples of training dataset. They can also predict new data that the system has not seen. So here you can see biological neural network. Our brain is constructed from 100 billions of neurons. Neurons constantly gather information that we perceive and propagate it through the entire brain. So, neural networks are the collection of neurons connected to each other. In order to create the neural network to solve a specific problem, it is necessary to choose how to connect neurons and the parameters of the connection weights. The structure of neural networks is closely related to the use of learning algorithms. There are three ways for neural network learning: supervised, unsupervised, and mixed. In this case, teacher participation is a knowledge presented in the form of input-output couples. The thermal coefficient of linear expansion is presented by machine learning method according to the experimental data obtained in paper by Buchetto. Here, the output parameter was the thermal coefficient of linear expansion. Filler concentration and temperature were considered as input parameters. During learning, the dataset is divided into two unequal parts: training and test samples. 70% of samples are randomly selected for the training sample from all experimental data, and 30% are left to assess the quality of prediction. The dependencies of the experimental data of the thermal coefficient of linear expansion on the predicted ones obtained by the neural network method are shown in this figure. So it is important that the points in figure are located quite close to the bisector of the first coordinate angle, which indicates the consistency of the predicted and experimental data. The dependencies of the predicted thermal coefficient of linear expansion on the filler concentration in the composite and temperature are shown in this figure. So, to analyze data, a statistical graph in the form of residuals diagrams is often used. It was found that the residuals have a normal distribution. Here you can see the main parameters of neural network: name of network, algorithm of learning, error function, function of hidden activation, function of output activation. In this study, the loss function was chosen as a mean squared error. In general, method selection and dataset are important to obtain good prediction results. Also, methods of supervised learning usually show better results than the methods of unsupervised learning. So here you can see the prediction error of the neural networks in the test sample for epoxy polymers. Thanks for your attention.